Well, welcome everybody, finally, to our Language Teachers Forum. And it's the first LTQ Language Teachers Forum. We were previously MLTAQ, Modern Language Teachers Association of Queensland, but from recently we've become Languages Teachers Queensland. So that's our new name. So I'm very happy to introduce Giovanni.
Hello.
Picariello.
Hey, nice to meet you. Hey.
Who's come up from the Gold Coast, from Southport High School, to do this this talk for us today, using comprehensible input to teach Chinese. So it's a demonstration lesson. So we'll see how it works. We've got a few people here in the classroom, and the people online can pretend they're in the classroom as well.
And yeah, and just whatever everyone's like, you know, depending on everyone's like prior knowledge and so on, like any questions or so on are very welcome. And yeah, I can tailor to whatever people want to know, depending on people's different like experience levels and so on. So yeah.
I guess we'll do the lesson first and then maybe have some discussion.
Yeah, sounds good. Okay, cool. So, hello everyone. We've got Kater, Catherine, Lee, Fiona, Candy. Hello. Yeah, so I'll just act as if you were students in a classroom. I would normally have more posters around, but just coming up from somewhere else. It's just these are the ones that are here. A couple of oh, thank you. Please, thank you. A couple of
wait a minute, Sunny.
a couple of guidelines. So I'm going to tell you a story. There are going to be some important details in the story. Every so often, I'm going to ask you some questions to make sure that I'm not going too fast. And I always say to my students, I won't say it to you today, but I always say to my students, if you look like you're off with the fairies, I'll ask you a question straight away to re-engage you so we don't leave anyone behind. Yeah, but I'll try and involve everyone as much as possible, okay? Another thing I like to do is I try my best to ask permission before speaking English normally. And so normally I'd have posters on the wall. I've just done a very quick version here, and it basically says, can I speak English? So imagine a poster for war, and a poster for 可以, and a poster for 说, poster for 英文, a poster for 吗, and then imagine these are all in a row. And so so from now on, this is important to remember. Your first job for today. If I ask you, can I speak English? Your job is to reply 可以. Ready?
可以，
可以，可以，非常好. So, okay, so I'm about to ask you, can I speak English? And you're going to say 可以, which means yes, you can, okay? 我可以说英文吗？可以，非常好, extremely good. If I go too fast today, I want you to click your fingers or clap your hands or get my attention somehow. Actually, you know what? Even better, if I go too quickly today, I want you to do this. So everyone here, put up your right hand. Okay, now point to this poster. You don't even have to say it out loud today. Just point to this poster. If I go too fast, please, what do I want you to do? Point to the poster. Excellent. And the third ground rule for today is if one person asks for help, we all ask together. And the way that we say it again is we say 再说一次. So you'll hear me say that, so don't stress about that. But if one person asks for a repetition, we all join in and we all help ask. Okay, but for today, because it's only your first day, again, just put up your hand, right hand, we'll go right hand again, points to this poster here, So if you want me to repeat anything, you just point to that poster. You don't even have to say this out loud today. Okay. And quick pause for a sec. Is everything kind of visible, like the posters and so on from where you are? It's kind of, it's all good. 可以，谢谢。好，谢谢。Excellent. Okay, cool. Let's start.
Sorry,
Oh.
are we recording the meeting
Yeah.
on Zoom? Yeah.
One more thing I'll write down here. Sure. This. Sure. Is. I probably wouldn't be saying so much English for this part because it'd just be comprehensible for the Zoom there. So sure. This is sure. And ooh means no or not. Okay, let's get into it. How? Okay. 只是 Picariello 老师。只是 Picariello 老师。这是 Smith 老师吗？不是。这是 Jones 老师吗？不是。这是谁？这是谁？ Kate-san, what am I asking? What if I say 是谁? What am I asking? I'm asking. Hey, Kate-san, 聪明. Class. 聪明是什么意思啊? Is it A, smart? Is it B, tall?
Smart.
聪明 smart 对 wow Catherine's son. Oh, I'm getting my language 非常聪明好 Candy 这是 Donald Trump 吗？不是。这是 Picariello 老师吗？是对，这是 Picariello 老师。Wow, Kate 聪明 is but. Oh my gosh, different layout. Kate 聪明，但是 Candy extremely 非常聪明。Hey. Does the class understand? 明白不明白？明白好 Okay. 这是 Picariello 老师 Pause for a sec. If I wanted to press next, what's the easiest way to press next? Just here or on that laptop?
No, yeah.
Okay. Wow. 这是 Picariello 老师 Picariello 老师是澳大利亚人。Picariello 老师是澳大利亚人。哇 Fiona 非常聪明。Peter-san 聪明。Candy 非常聪明，但是 Fiona 非常聪明。Hey, I wish I had my oh my goodness poster. 我的天 Just imagine like 我的天 Oh, Kate-san Picariello 老师是不是美国人？不是。Fiona Picariello 老师是中国人吗？不是。不是美国人，也不是中国人。是不是澳大利亚人？ 是 Picariello 老师 handsome 啊 Picariello 老师是澳大利亚人。哎，OK，下一个。I say Luna, you say Luna, Luna,
Luna
Luna。
Luna
我说 Picariello 老师，你说 Picariello 老师 ，Picariello 老师
Picariello
老
老师
Picariello 老师。
Picariello 老师
哎，class 聪明，好好好，这是 Luna，Luna 是 Picariello 老师的宝贝。Do you understand？明白？好，非常好。这是 Donald Trump 的宝贝吗？
不是
不是，这是 Picariello 老师的 sandwich 吗？不是，I don't think so，不是。这是 Picariello 老师的宝贝，宝贝，哎，啊，好了。Let me go to 啊，这是 Samantha 吗？
不是
这是 Wendy 吗？
不是
也不是。这是 Susanna 吗？
不是
是。这是谁？Who is？这是谁？
Luna
这是 Luna 哦，Catherine Sun，非常 the most intelligent，最
just because I'm holding the camera wants the right angle
Just-
you know
这是 Samantha 哦，这是 Luna， 对，这是 Luna，哎，这是 Luna，开场 Luna 高不高？不高，
不高
不高。LeBron James 高不高
高
？LeBron James 非常非常非常高，
高
对。但是 Luna Picariello 不高，
不高
class Luna 可爱吗？可爱
可爱
不可爱？可爱
可爱
可爱可爱。
可爱
一 hands up for cute 可爱
可爱
一二三四五六一二三四五六。好 Luna 可爱，但是 Luna 非常非常What's 非常 by the way? Extreme 非常非常非常调皮
啊
调皮，对 Luna 调皮 Donald Trump 也调皮。What did I just say? Translation, please. Luna 调皮 Donald Trump 也调皮。Translation into English, what did I just say?
Sorry, I didn't have. And Donald Trump is also cheeky.
Hey, A plus. Fiona is the Fiona 最 sorry 对不起。
I'll just yeah turn around no sorry people at home.
LeBron 高 Luna 不高 Luna 调皮 Donald Trump 也调皮这是 Luna 这是 Luna 的妈妈还是爸爸？
爸爸
爸爸，对，这是 Luna 的爸爸。Translation, please. Kaita-san. Oh, beautiful. Well done. What a good
Oh.
student. Oh my gosh, best student ever. When one person asks for help, we all ask together. Ready? 再说一次. Beautiful. You guys did so well. The 次 is so hard for Australians to pronounce, but you did such an excellent job. Excellent. 非常非常非常好. Oh. Okay, so one more time, and then Kate is going to translate into English. 知识 Translation so far, please. 知识 Luna 的爸爸. Translation, please.
This is Luna's father.
Hey, A plus. 非常好, extremely good. 好聪明. 很好,很聪明. Very, very good, very smart. I say wife, you say tai tai, wife, tai tai, wife.
太太
我说太太，你说太太，太太，
太太
太太。
太太
哎，这是 Picariello 老师的太太这是 Picariello 老师的宝贝。啊，谢谢李先生，你的头。这是 Luna， 这是 Picariello 老师的宝贝。这是 Picariello 老师的太太。哎 ，class 太太是什么意思啊 ？wife， 哎，这是 Picariello 老师的太太，这是 Picariello 老师的宝贝。我们在 we are at 我们在 SeaWorld。SeaWorld 在 Gold Coast。Southport High 在这里，然后 Main Beach 在这里 ，Main Beach 在 Surfers Paradise 的旁边。这是 Surfers Paradise， 这是 Southport， 这是 Main Beach。SeaWorld 在 Main Beach。Do you understand? 明白？
明白。
Cool. Oh my gosh, now I'm really going to test you. Oh my goodness. You won't be able to do this on your first time. Don't even try. Don't even try. You won't be able to do it. You won't be able to do it. Picariello 老师的 Oh, sorry, getting ahead of myself. Picariello 老师是澳大利亚人. What did I just say, Fiona?
Mr. Picariello is Australian.
Hey, 对 Picariello 老师是澳大利亚人。真好，非常好。Picariello 老师是澳大利亚人。Luna 也是澳大利亚人. Hey, good job. By the way, anytime I say anything, you guys can be like my auto predictive text on the phone. You know how the phone predicts what you're going to say next? If you can predict what I'm going to say next, feel free to say it along with me, okay? Picariello 老师的太太是中国人。This is so hard for Aussies to pronounce. You definitely won't be able to do this on your first time. 中国 Oh my gosh, that was amazing. 中国我说中国，你说中国，我说美国，你说美国。Hey. Remember, if you can predict what I'm going to say it along with me. Otherwise, you're just actively listening as well. Luna 的爸爸的爸爸是意大利人。对，这是 Luna，这是 Luna 的爸爸，这是 Luna 的爸爸的爸爸，明白？好，非常好。这是 Luna 的爸爸的妈妈，对，Luna 的爸爸的妈妈是不是美国人？不是，
美国人，
对，不是美国人，对对
美国人，
对，澳大利亚人不是，中国人吗？不是，Switzerland 人吗？不是，意大利人吗？是，对，对对对，Luna 的妈妈的爸爸是哪国人？Oh my gosh, that was amazing pronunciation. You're so talented. 对，Luna 的妈妈的，was it this one? 不是爸爸，爸爸是中国人。I better get that right. 中国人，对。And cool. All right. And that is pretty much it for like a first. Oh, sorry, that was rude of me. Can I speak English? I'm going to say, can I speak English? And you're going to say 可以. 可以 means yes, you can. 不可以 means no, you can't. But you'll say 可以.
Bet I know what the students say.
Well, that's fine because then you give them all the instructions in Chinese
Yeah.
and they feel, yeah.
Great
Okay.
decision.
All right, so I'm going to ask, can I speak English? You're going to say 可以. Ready? 我可以说英文吗? Excellent, cool. And that's pretty much it for that like first activity. And then I would have like the words on the screen and maybe just to like give them a break from like actively listening for so long. They can use these words to make their own sentences. And then like, yeah, as you go through, the more words that you learn, the crazier their sentences can get. So yeah, that's pretty much that activity for that first lesson. So yeah, yeah, well done. And I'm going to give you guys a round of applause because you did so well. I mean, you did an awesome job. Well done. Excellent, excellent. Do you have any questions about anything, or would you like to see some other resources that would be used, like that I would use throughout the term, sort of thing, or like what would you like? Yes.
Is that the
Also people at home.
S?
Yes, I think I just copied that from Terry Waltz when she does that. Yeah.
It's a great one. Yeah.
Everything that I've, as you guys might know already, like everything, the TPRS method, me and a bunch of other people, we learned from Terry Waltz in like 2016, 2017.
17, I think, yeah.
And I learned a lot of stuff from Ian Perry, who was a teacher at the Gap State High School, Chinese teacher. Yeah. Would you like to see other resources as well? Or do you have questions about characters, like how to use characters, or?
What about people at home? If you've got any questions, please ask. Feel free to type them in the chat, or you can unmute and we can hear you and can speak.
And I didn't really do this in this first lesson because I don't want to overwhelm the kids, but I think after this first lesson, even like I'll just include, actually I might go back and even change this like in future, like adding the characters in, just so they're exposed to the characters, even if the goal for this like lesson is not the characters, I think I would just go back and add those in just so they're exposed to them. Because I think all that extra exposure can't hurt. So, yeah.
Yeah, I like how you have sort of like the sentence builders in there as well.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I copied that from Kathy from the Gold Coast. Yeah. Yeah.
No, that's
Um,
great. Yeah.
What I might do is I might, because I put all my stuff on another USB, and I might, oh, that's what I was going to
Oh,
say.
here we go. I've
actually.
got some
I've
questions, sorry.
listen.
Sorry, got a question. Okay.
Oh, yep.
Um,
I'll get this loaded too because I was on, yeah.
do you mind sharing how you teach characters?
Yes. So, if you give me like a minute, I will, because I brought my laptop, but I put some stuff on this USB and I'm moving the rest to another USB. So if that USB has finished loading or downloading or whatever, then I'll put that on the screen. But yeah, long story short, like depending on what the goal of the lesson is, will affect like whether I have pinyin in the lesson or not. But I think pinyin is good. Like I think it makes something that could be overwhelming a little less overwhelming for a grade 8 or grade 7 kid on their first day of Chinese. So but yeah, I'll see if that USB is ready.
I'd be really interested to hear what people, I don't know what the experience was like watching from home, a little bit different perhaps from being here in the room, but I certainly was really impressed with your pace. It was really, I thought it was lovely, but I have had a little experience of some demo lessons in Chinese. It's not completely new language to me. So I'd be interested if there were people at home perhaps who have no Chinese, how you felt. And I know it would be harder because you couldn't really see the screen as well. For that extra support of, having things pointed to on the screen, but how you found the pace of that. I just thought it was excellent.
Yeah, like it's hard for all of us. I like
I'm close.
to know whether like I'm sure we all have the same experience. Like you just have to look people in the eyes and see where they're at. And yeah, I mean it helps that these students here today are amazing. But yeah,
Highly motivated, yes. Not necessarily, yeah. But still, that would have been.
As I'm listening, I'm just like figuring out why this USB is not.
What do you do? Another question, more questions coming in. What do you do if you get no response?
I hope that's okay.
So I'll just you can just be listening to this. So what
Yep.
do you do if you get no response from students?
Oh, that's a good question.
And do you teach pinyin each lesson when you teach the sentence patterns? Do you finish teaching all of the pinyin in year 7 and then completely move to teaching sentence patterns?
I personally don't explicitly teach pinyin because they just kind of get it as you go along. But for certain words, like the first time, I don't know if this will make sense or not, but the first time seeing certain words like the zhe in zhe shi, or the chi in chi dongxi, like to eat, like chi, I find that for those words, the first time seeing them, if you just write them phonetically underneath as well with like quotation marks around them, that helps a lot. Like the first time I write chi, which chi means eat in Chinese, if I have that, not every time, but the first time with CHIR written phonetically, like underneath with quotation marks around it, it just stops a lot of kids from saying chi, etc., etc. Yeah. Yeah, that was an awesome question.
And so the other question was, what do you do if you get no response from students?
Oh, that's awesome. That's a really good question. It depends what the reason is. Hey, like, what's the reason that they're not responding? Is it because is it because it's a tricky class, for example, or is it because they haven't heard the words enough? Or is it because it's their first lesson of a new language. I think it depends why. And so you kind of see where the kids are at and you go from there. But yeah, like I find that like 9 times out of 10, if I do this kind of activity, which is called storytelling, if I do this kind of activity, like if I say to them at the start, I'm going to ask you lots of comprehension questions to make sure I don't go too fast and to make sure you know what's going on. If I say that and I say, if you look like you're off with the fairies, if you look like you're looking outside or thinking about what you had for dinner on the weekend, I'm going to ask you a question straight away so I can make sure that we don't leave you behind and we re-engage you. And then just doing that helps a lot. And yeah, so usually if students aren't speaking out loud, which is fine because you want them to hear the language a lot first before expecting them to produce output. But usually if they're not saying, if they're listening but they're not saying stuff out loud, the reason why is like usually it's because they just haven't heard the words enough yet. And Ian Perry and Terry Waltz used to say a lot, like some people need like 10 repetitions to acquire a word. Some people need like 200 or 300 repetitions to acquire a word. Yes. So yeah, they need to hear the words a lot. You can do other, like, I think your goal as a teacher is to just do whatever method to get the kid to experience success. So, you know, for example, if it's their first day, instead of asking them to translate a few sentences at a time or something, or even a sentence, just point like word for word and they can translate word for word because the English is there. The English underneath makes it comprehensible. And like, yeah, so just use whatever method to get them to experience success. Don't be too hard on them if it's their first day. Be nice to them, smile at them, you know, think about where they're coming from. They might have done Chinese in primary school and now they're in high school and they haven't done it for a little bit. So yeah, hope that answers that.
Can I jump in? That's my question.
Yeah, please. I'll just make sure.
So when I first started in year 7, they were good. Because it's new to them. They respond. Yes, they're fantastic. But when they get to year 8, we have already done it for 6 months in year 7. They know what's going on. But in year 8, they decided to keep quiet and no response. I've been doing the same things like what they were in year 7, exactly the same. But year 7, I think just because it's new and then it's fresh and they like it. But after a while, I don't know what's the problem. They don't seem to be like more enthusiastic as before.
That's an awesome point. What's your name, by the way? I'm Giovanni.
I'm Francis.
Oh, hello, Francis.
Hi,
Yeah,
hi. So
like, that's awesome. Hey, like I feel because my year 8s won't mind me saying this if they hear this. I don't mind at all, and they won't mind either. But like so this semester I've got a year 7 class and a year 8 class, and there's a massive like difference. Like I experience exactly what you've just described, which is like for some reason, because at my school they do 6 months of Chinese in grade 7 or in grade 8. And so, and the reason for that is because of the staffing and they get to try lots of different electives and stuff. So that's really good. So at my school, they do 6 months of Chinese in grade 7. And if they haven't done it in grade 7, then they do their 6 months in grade 8. And so as a result, like we do the same course for grade 7 and for grade 8, but they just do 6 months. And like, yeah, I usually encounter the same thing that you've just described, which is even with the same, like in my case, it's the same content because they're doing a 6 months in one of their years. the same content will get like a completely different response with grade 7 students versus grade 8 students. So what I'm trying to work on for myself is like, firstly, like for me, managing my expectations a bit better. So like, instead of expecting output as early with my this sounds weird, but with the older kids, I expect output less early than with the younger kids. So I try and manage my expectations. I try and meet them where they're at and just try and be positive and nice to them. I try and explain why we're doing what we're doing. My grade 8s won't mind me saying this. I've got 3 or 4 students in that class as well, where they're very they're students that I think need to be multitasking in order to listen. So they have a lot of difficulty. In this year 8 class, I've got maybe 20, 23, 24 students that can follow a lesson like this just fine. And then I've got 3 or 4 that they need to be multitasking at the same time. And so I've experimented with giving them like something really simple to do, to color, for example, or to draw while they're listening. So something without words on it. So they're still doing what we're doing, but they're multitasking. And that's how I framed that with them. Yeah, so I try and be positive, meet them where they're at, manage my expectations. For some of my students, I've got to get them to do 2 things at once. But yeah, like with my grade 8 class, like they won't mind me saying, like it was a bit rocky the first couple of weeks, but now it's like week 4 now, I think. And so they've been doing Chinese for 14 weeks. And I think they've warmed up to it a lot more than at the start. So yeah. And the other thing that helps a lot for me is that I think some teachers can do this storytelling method every lesson or almost every lesson. But for me personally, I find that like if I do any activity, no matter how good it is, if I do the same thing lesson after lesson, they get bored of it. And that's when I get additional like problems that wouldn't be there normally. So I try and mix it up. Like I don't just do storytelling stuff, but what all the stuff that I do has in common is that it always involves like comprehensible input. I try and personalize it. So in this case, this was about me and my family, like showing the students that I'm a bit human and personalizing it a bit. And involving the students as much as possible. Yeah. So hope that helps. Yeah.
Another question.
But I'm with you 100%. That's an awesome question.
Could you introduce some games and digital games that you usually use for students to practice their speaking, for example, like Pinyin or Chinese character writing? And then another one is, could you please introduce some Chinese cultural activities that junior secondary students love? Oh,
good question. The digital games, like some teachers are really good at that, and that's not my skill set at the moment, but I'm keen to learn. I don't know if you classify it as a digital game, but I use Kahoot a lot. A lot of teachers use Bluekit and stuff. But yeah, that's where I'm at, and that's something I can work on. Yeah, but Kahoot's good. I think anything that involves repetition, comprehensible input, fun. If the students are happy and they're learning something, I think that's good. Yeah. Could you introduce some cultural activities? Yeah, like the way that this is something I can get better at, but the way that I personally introduce cultural stuff to them is I use videos a lot. So like if the students have just come in and it's period 3 and they've been doing other subjects for 2.5 hours and they've been running around for 35 minutes outside, like they'll enter the classroom. I've got like a TED Ed video about the terracotta warriors or about dumplings or about something. And so that's how I try and include culture that way. I also try and include culture through like really quick anecdotal notes as we're going through. So for example, later on they see the date and stuff and how the date is written differently to English, like from biggest to smallest. So yeah, those are the two things that I personally use, is just like videos and quick incidental stuff that I explain to them in English. But yeah, I'm keen to learn more, and yeah, keen to add that to my skill set. Yeah. This USB has about a couple more minutes left. Are there any
Lee,
more
did you have a
questions? These are really smart, amazing questions. But
Yeah, I'd just like to add that I've been lucky enough to be invited to Giovanni's classroom at Southport High a couple of times to see his lesson, and I'm totally impressed that he manages to do virtually a whole lesson without using a single word of English.
Mm.
And if he does want to, like he showed us before, he asks the students in Chinese if he can, and they have to agree. But with all his little posters and things, and of course he's got way more around his actual classroom than his South Bank classroom, but it is possible to do. I find in my first year Japanese class that I teach, I do quite a lot of English at the beginning. We're into week 9 now, so they've been going for 9 weeks, and now I can do about 15 minutes of just totally speaking Japanese, but I'm very clear. I know exactly what they know, and I can say it in using exactly the vocab that they know and the structures they know. Mightn't always be normally the most natural way, but another way of saying it with what they know. So it's just happening in Japanese, which is good. And of course, the comprehensible import thing is so.
My criteria is like, I try not to be too hard on myself, and like, that's so nice that you've said that. So thank you so much for that. That was really, really nice. Thank you. My criteria for when I speak English is sometimes, like when you're doing behavior management stuff, you just got to speak English. It's just easier. If it's inconvenient for me to not speak English and I need to speak English, then I just speak English. But yeah, I do try my best to keep it in the target language as much as I can. Yeah. But I'm always trying to get better. But thank you for that really nice feedback. So thank you.
And there's a lot of other things you can do with comprehensible input, like the class I was teaching this morning. It was like, I don't do things that much, and ammari shimasen, and every time I say the word ammari, not so much, I go like this, or zen, not at all. And if you keep those little things going, they understand. They don't realize that they're actually understanding through your actions as much as through the words. But after a while, you don't need the actions anymore. But yeah, I just sort of like to add that.
Thank you.
And are you going to talk about how you teach the character?
Yes, it's almost
That's what I
loaded.
was waiting for there. Yeah.
Let me see if I can open this up. Let's see.
Something else just to cut in then while you're still sorting that out, with the question about students who aren't keen to get involved and vocalize. Sometimes I will ask a question and ask them, they might say, give them 30 seconds or so to talk about it with somebody else first before sharing with the whole class, and that a little bit of time to and if you know what to say, make sure the person on your left and right does too, and help them out, that kind of thing.
There's lots of teachers. I mean, is there anything that you've done? Because there's a few teachers here that have used TPRS and comprehensible input and stuff. Are there any tips or tricks that you guys would recommend?
Starts. If they answer the questions, if they put their hands out to answer the question, I give them a star, just put a star on the ball. And because they wanted to earn the star for maybe some rewards afterwards, so they will keep putting their hands out and wanted to answers.
That was another thing I loved about Giovanni too, the way he really boosted everyone's confidence with your lovely,
It's so nice. Thank
so many times,
Thank you.
how incredibly, impressively smart we all are. Shut.
And I think it's nice to use like little tricks to get the students to speak. Like I say blah,
Yeah,
blah.
that
You
was so
say
cute.
blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Little tricks like that.
Sounded so good in Chinese. Can we do it the same way in Japanese? I don't know. I'm going to come up with a nice little, it's such a lovely beat to it, didn't it?
There's like also like you can make what's the word? Like you can make mistakes on purpose, like but in the target language so that does that make sense? Yeah, Terry Waltz called that a shadow, hey. I think like you purposefully say the wrong thing, like not wrong grammar, but like wrong, like
the thing
Luna is my
He's tall,
wife,
that sort of thing.
right?
Yeah, those sorts of things. Yeah.
Well, sure, Luna, is Donald Trump my wife?
Oh, not.
Well, sure, is oh yeah, and so on. Yeah.
And it's a great way to check if people are listening. Hey.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's good because it kind of elicits its reaction. You know,
Mhm.
and then suddenly you know he's unconfessed, but your immediate reaction is sort of impulsive rather than yeah.
Do you do this with with Japanese TPRS? Like you raise your hands and say "komatta" or something? I think I copied that from like Terry Waltz or Ian Perry or something like more than Tien. Yeah, like every time I raise my arms, like the kids are just trained to just scream like "Water Tien!" Ah! And then if you're not happy with like how loudly they've done it, you get them to like scream it, and yeah, it's cool. This is nearly loaded, but some other cool things are the song Wo Jiao Tim. That's for Chinese. I like the song 对不起我的中文不好.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Like Taiwan.
Yeah.
Oh, Wo Jiao Tim. My teaching partner Jing recommended it, and it's so good. Hey, that song. Yeah. Yeah.
But even high school kids like that one.
Yeah, I like the Wo Jiao Tim. Like I thought, because it's this really easy song, and I was like, oh, they won't like this in high school, but I love it.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, my primary school kids love it as well.
So it's really catchy. And
Yeah.
remember, even after years, they'll do like.
Yeah.
How early do you guys expect like output from the kids, or do you guys manage your expectations depending on their experience and so on, or how do you find that aspect? Because the training says do a lot of input before you expect any output, but I think you can trick like kids or students to do output faster than
I
they
think
would
the
assume.
difference, isn't it, between scaffolded output and spontaneous output. The spontaneous output is going to take longer.
Yes.
Really natural, falling out of the mouth, spontaneous output, but you can scaffold that output with words on the board, pointing, helping them, supporting them until they build that confidence.
Yeah.
I think the spontaneous takes time.
Yeah.
I told them what word is covered, and I never use what word in English ever again. So every time when I said 打开, I don't say 打开, I said take out your curtain. This is a curtain. Have you lost your curtain? Where's your curtain? Don't color your curtain. Then every time will come to me and say, Miss, I lost my curtain. Why you lost your curtain? I just gave you the curtain last week. No, we all say it's curtain. They forgot the word workbook, but just curtain. And that really worked. I didn't expect them would remember it, but they remember naturally. Even the kids who only studied Chinese for 2 weeks. She was like, Miss, where's my curtain? I don't know. Where's the curtain? Yeah, so that kind of thing, but it's a small thing, but it does take like effects in that. But you just gotta use it consistent. I think consistency.
What do you guys think about like the using the hand gestures and stuff? Like Lee was saying before, I think that's awesome. Hey.
Yeah, I think I love it.
Yeah.
And just that, it's called total physical response, I think. You know,
Oh,
yeah.
Japanese, and it might be, hi, so this, and I make them nod their head, and I do it all the time, or yeah, because if your body's actually doing it, you learn a lot better than just a word that's maybe written, a squiggle on a page or something like that. So as much as you can, act, but that's even as simple as that. They soon learn the hi, ikimasu, or yeah, ikimasen, or something like that. So total physical
There's another
response.
question here about any useful websites that you usually use to create Chinese booklets.
Booklets or bluekit? Oh, booklets.
Says booklets, maybe it means
oh,
booklets. No, it
like-
wouldn't be. It'd be booklets.
So my school, we've got a website called QLearn that we just put all our resources onto. And so that's the students' point of truth for where they get the resources and download them and stuff. And sometimes I print stuff and sometimes I don't. So I don't really have booklets that I give them, but it's a good idea. I like it.
Purple culture. There's one called Purple Culture where you can input Chinese, but it will give you the pinyin, like it will produce the
Purple
pinyin.
culture.
Yeah,
Is it a
Purple
website or is it
Sorry.
There's a website called Purple Culture. I'm not sure if it's what you want, but if you have a text in Chinese and you type it into into Purple Culture's text conversion to pinyin, then it will produce you a document with the colors, the tone colors, and underneath each character or above each character, as you like, it will put the pinyin, so that therefore you can produce a text where they can see the character and the pinyin, and they know what tone it is. I'm not sure if that's what you want. I don't know. But
Oh, like color coding the
No.
tones, like ma is colored blue, that sort of thing.
yeah, like
Oh, yep. Oh, this way. Terry Waltz showed us that.
yeah, the name of the website is Purple Culture. I think to get all of it, you have to pay something a year, but you can still there are still some free options.
Where
do we plug
the USB into? Sorry.
Oh, yeah, sure. And before I forget, can they see what's on the screen or? Because this
Not
is
at
like
the moment, that's what's on, everyone's seeing at home.
Okay.
And also, another question's come through.
Does that
What
go onto the
assessment
screen
might
now?
be like? Yep, now we can see it.
Yeah.
What assessment might be like in your school?
Oh, yeah.
Would be great if we could have another PD on teaching and assessment to encourage more teachers to share their successful practice. There you go.
Yeah. Well, so firstly, before I forget, this is like a checklist that Ian Perry gave me, and I think I attached this in the email to everyone, just fill it, like methodology checklist. So that should be in the email that I sent to everyone, but if it's not, please tell me. And as far as assessment goes, like I probably won't airplay it on the screen right now, but any assessment stuff, just let me know and I can probably send it over. Some teachers have said like I know senior assessment, I think there's a conflict of interest if you send senior assessment, but I think junior assessment is fine. Hey, I personally don't really mind at all, and I'm really happy to share anything. So just let me know, and yeah. And I'll check with my teaching partner Jing, because we made those together.
Right, I don't know how that'll look on
Yeah, I don't know how that will look.
screen to screen, but
But
is
yeah,
the-
this is what Purple Culture gives you. It gives you the tones that match, the tone color matches how you say it.
Mm.
So the students can get an idea of which tones to say, which characters are which tone.
beautiful.
What time do we have to leave here, Lee? Is it like 6 or is it like what time? 6? Would it be useful to
This
see
is what
like
everyone's seeing at home.
Oh, cool. All right. Yeah. Would it be useful to see some like a variety of different lessons? Would that be useful? Okay, cool. So that is that first lesson is basically what was on the screen earlier. I do another storytelling one, but about Trump and his drink hot coffee, but Washington, D.C. doesn't have any hot coffee. So then Trump goes to Sydney, but Sydney's Starbucks doesn't have coffee either. And then Trump goes to Beijing, and then that's where they finally have the hot coffee. And then at the end, there's this, like at the very end of that story, there's this word list here, and they can use these words to use these words to yeah, to
What about,
create
do
their
you
own
teach year
sentences.
12?
No.
No. So what year level is your highest level that you teach?
But if you want to get in contact with people that teach year 12, let me know, because I know some people that do, and maybe you can network and whatnot. I teach grade 7 and grade 8 this year. My teaching load is about half science, half Chinese. And I've got, yeah, grade 7 class and a grade 8 class of Chinese this semester. So I get them to learn the Dubuchi song, which is Dubuchi or the Zhongwen Buhao, just to get them to learn a song. I get them to learn the chorus of that. I'll just go through very, very fast. I hope that's okay. Give them some quizzes and stuff. So there's some quizzes like true or false, or match the phrase to the translation. And I call them formative assessments, but they're just anything I can do to get the kids more input, more comprehensible input. And yeah, checking their understanding at the same time. There's a storytelling here about LeBron James. So LeBron James, what does LeBron like to do, and what nationality is LeBron, and how old is LeBron, and how many family members does LeBron have? Yeah. And then at the end, there's like, yeah, similar to before at the, this is a bit long. I don't really do these last few slides anymore, but at the end, there's the word list. And again, I get them to like make sentences using the words. But what I've started to do, like instead of just having opinion, I'll have characters underneath like as well. There's another type of activity called cold character reading, which Catherine can probably explain better than
Probably
me.
needs a whole
but
presentation on its own, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's hard to explain in.
But like I get them, like basically whatever the goal of the lesson is, that determines what the resources would be. Do you reckon that's fair to say? So in this particular lesson, I say to them, by the end of the class, you're going to be able to read this story, and they can't believe it because it's all in characters. But then going through progressively, so we learn, well, yeah, in cold character reading, you don't always do this, but I get them to actually explicitly learn some of the characters, and we write them down on the whiteboard. They write them in their books. And then we go through this story. I stand up there with a ruler and point to the words. And we kind of, read through it together. So there's that. So SpongeBob has a problem. SpongeBob doesn't have water. SpongeBob needs water, and so on and so on. And then at the end, their success criteria is, can they read the story with no pinyin, but also at the same time, they have access to the story with pinyin as like a form of differentiation. So the students should be able to do that by the end of the lesson, but just in case, there's that version there too. And then there's an English version there so they can check their understanding. So yeah, there's that. There's like, yeah, just little formative assessments. There's one called Draw a Student, a little listening formative assessment. I copied this from Ian Perry, but I added some, I changed it a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, essentially, so in this lesson, by the end of the lesson, they're able to read that, which like the kids like freak out at the start, but then they're able to do it by the end of the class. And there's also this version here too for them at the end, as like a form of differentiation. But yeah, this story is about Olaf, and Olaf can't find his nose. And Terry Waltz taught us like it's good to have a problem in the story, hey, like a problem that needs to be solved. Yeah. Then there's this lesson where I get them to learn 3 introduction songs. There's a YouTuber named Groovy Paulie, and I downloaded his songs, and I just get them to learn the 3 songs at their own pace. I try and also like what I do in the lesson, because the kids do 3 lessons a week, and one of them is early in the morning, and the other one's middle of the day, and the third one is late in the afternoon. And so for the lesson that's late in the afternoon, I try and get stuff where they're learning stuff in a group or learning a song. Yeah. And this one is, there's a template where they write about their family. You could do something like this either on paper or characters. Yeah, everything just depends on what your goals are and what your teaching style is and so on. So that's pretty much like that's like a quick like overview of some of the types of things that I would do. Oh, there's also stuff like, so we get them to write a pen pal letter using a template in term 2. And so I give them a printed copy of a pen pal letter, and they work in a team of 2. They use the words list and they translate the pen pal letter. And then at the end, there are some comprehension questions. So yeah, as I say, like everything just depends on what the goal of the lesson is. If the goal is for them to hear new words for the first time, then something like storytelling is really good. There's my teaching partner, Jing, by the way. Yeah, so this is storytelling about some chickens that Shri Laosher, my teaching partner, has. Yeah, and then I get them, yeah, this is like storytelling. And I get them to choose an ending, like what happens to the chickens and stuff. And they guess which ending they choose. Yes, they always choose the Kongbu ending. Yeah, and then just in case they choose the Kongbu ending, there's all these words here like Kula and Shala and Chila and so on and so on. Yeah. Yeah, pen pal letter, storytelling. There's one lesson where for that lesson, we just learn characters, and that's the goal of that lesson. Is we give them there's this list of 30 characters that they learn using them, 25 characters and 5 meaning radicals that they learn, and then that links to their assessment later. I'll just leave that for now.
So do the different colors in the sentences indicate different learning objectives was a question? Or was that
Do
about
the
time?
different
Colours in the sentence?
Do you mean like,
Yeah, probably
do you mean how,
what you just said there, I think showed some different colors.
like at the end? So I copied Kathy Galligan, who gives the kids a word bank to use, and then the colors don't mean anything. The colors don't correspond to verbs or nouns or anything, but I just group them so that they flow from left to right, so that the kids can make sentences as easily as possible. Yeah, good question. But no, they don't, the colors don't mean anything. Just a way to group the bits together.
And hopefully the presentation from today, the recording of the presentation will be shared. We'll see how.
The PowerPoint I already emailed, but if it didn't send, can you let me know? And I also emailed this observation checklist that Ian Perry gave me because it was so useful for me. Yeah.
Actually, maybe I could put in here your email address. Would people
Yeah,
be able to contact
Of course
you?
they can, yeah,
If you could maybe
of course.
type
yeah,
your email address
absolutely.
in there.
Yep.
That would be good. For anybody who didn't receive it. So check your
EQ.
emails because you might have already received a
Well,
copy of the presentation.
Maybe it didn't send to anyone because
but some people got it. I know, I got it.
Oh, okay. gpicker2@eq.edu.au. Yeah.
So make
So-
a note of that if you, yeah.
Are there any other tips or tricks, or I think that's pretty much it for me. Is there anything else anyone wants to add?
Just going to do a thank you.
Oh, cool. Thank you for coming along, by the way. It's really cool. Yeah, cool experience for me to be on Zoom like this. It's really cool. So thank you for coming along as well.
Thank you very much, Giovanni.
Thank you.
I
Thank you,
think
Kaisa-san. Handsome as
Giovanni's
always.
not as much as you. Yeah, yeah. I think people here and also people online enjoyed your lesson demonstration,
Thank you very much. Thank
as
you.
well as there are lots of teaching tips, and many people are now busy thinking about what sort of things they can incorporate in their lessons.
Thank you.
Yeah, and thank you very much for sharing your resources. as
Thank you
well.
very much. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much for
having
coming
me.
here.
Thank you.
Lovely. Okay. Thanks, everyone. And lots of thanks.
谢谢。